have that ability. But hey, we are
I
live.
tried. I tried, to play guitar and bass and synthesizer and everything else, and it's like, well, this
Well,
sucks.
and back when I was in the guitars weren't quite there cool enough. Maybe we just couldn't afford them. So it was the drums were the coolest thing. Which of
Oh
course
God, yeah.
now I look back and all the jokes about who's the guy who the drummer's like the one in he's left out. So that was what I got into, and then it turns out that. The drum thing, it's like, okay, I know how to keep a beat, but I can't read music. And drummers are a dime a dozen when it comes to local bands. So, hey, I might as well become a DJ.
Every time I hear like an old Genesis song, I want to go buy a drum kit.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
then I remember, hey, wait a minute, you have to listen to Def Leppard if you only got one arm to do this stuff, because that's the only thing you're going to be able to do.
That is true. That is true. And you have to get it all tricked out with the extra foot pedal and all the.
I was doing a state fair gig, one of my last years at state fair. I remember, and there was a drummer back there with this killer kit. I
Mhm.
mean, it was a cool looking rock star kit. And I'm like, wow, what can I play that's really cool and the drummer could play along? So I put on like Hot for Teacher by Van Halen or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Let's see if he could keep up. And he did. But what a boring drummer. I mean, he was just like using the drums right in front of him, just cross arm kind of thing. I'm like, really? Show off a little bit, have some fun. This is a warm up.
You've
You have this
got.
big kit, use it. It's like the DJ who has all the stuff in front of him and doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to push play and I'm going to turn the mids.
Crap, are we on the air?
Oh, yeah, we are.
Oh, sorry. Hello, everybody.
Good evening, gang. It is Tuesday night. It is time for us to talk a little industry tonight. We're going to take a little bit of a diversion from our typical first half hour music show, just because I wanted to just kind of dig into the whole relationship with family and what we do as a profession. Something
Yeah.
we all have to deal with at some point in time. So I figured that was going to be our
If you're lucky,
topic.
you get to deal with it.
You will at it, and even if you're not married or have a relationship, you're still going to have family that are doing things. I mean, it's always there.
Yeah.
It's just at what level. So we're going to dig into that tonight, and then in our second half hour, we have a great list of questions. I need to make sure. Yes, we've got the questions over. We have a nice list tonight, and all of them pertain to Brian. How do you price your service? So this is going to be a great show.
Awesome. I love talking about money. It's so much fun.
Exactly. Time and time again. So how do you price your show? If you're
Hmm.
watching us on Facebook Live, thank you for watching wherever you're watching us tonight. But the Facebook live stream, I can't follow the things quite as well. So go out to on the bottom description area is the YouTube link. Go out to show number 1, and we are doing show number 1 right now.
Welcome to it.
And welcome to it. So, Brian, I wanted to kind of talk about, let's kind of start off talking about this past weekend. I've seen some pictures. You had an event at the house. So let's kind of talk about that and how you were able to make that event a little bit different because you are a DJ dad.
Well, it's funny because I think a lot of people really expected me to bring it to do like this dance thing. And I really wanted to make it about people and not about my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So just to kind of, it was my daughter's graduation party, first of all. So, I wanted to have it, knowing what I know as a DJ, I was able to plan this pretty well. And I'll explain because I'll go back a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you do a party and they're like, yeah, we're going to have a birthday party. And they rent this hall and 50 people show up and it looks dead.
Yep.
They come in and out and it's like, it's not a very good party. And you're the DJ and you're supposed to get people dancing and no one will dance and it sucks. So what I did was I had a backyard thing, an open house. And we had between 50 and 60 people at my house. 50 and 60 people in my backyard looks like a Grateful Dead concert because my backyard is, I live in the city, I have a very small backyard. So it looked like a lot was going on. And then for the music part, instead of breaking out the DJ system, instead of doing all of this stuff, all I did was I put a couple of little 5-inch FBTJ 5As on sticks, kind of inconspicuously, ran some XLR cables out the dryer vent and put like my Pioneer mixer and the laptop on there and ran 80s on 8 from Sirius XM all day. That's what I did. So I did use some equipment because I had it, but it could have very well been a boombox. And I didn't want a lot of bass to disturb neighbors. So it worked out well. But yeah, those were kind of the things that I did that kind of helped me plan it and make it successful, because we had a great time. It was really nice. It was a successful event, but I did use some of those things to help me out.
And I
Somewhat
saw
help.
you did something with some trussing.
Oh,
What was this kind of circular trussing thing? Tell me about that.
okay. Well, I have a picture of this on my Facebook page, and I didn't take it until nighttime. What I thought would be fun is, because a lot of people were coming to my house for the first time, especially a lot of people from my daughter's mother's side, you know, who I believe have been told for the last 8 years that I live in the ghetto. So they were in for a really big surprise to show up at my house, 4 blocks from the lake, and this neighborhood with bistros and lounges and stuff in it. But anyway, so I wanted to put something out in front of the house to show people where the party was. And you know how people do balloons or whatever. We have street parking up and down the street, and I live on an avenue. I don't live on a side street. I live on a main avenue.
Okay.
It's Highway 32, and that is what Lakeshore Drive is in Chicago. That runs right along the lake,
Mm-hmm.
that you see in the movies or whatever. So I'm not on a little quiet street. I'm on a busy, busy highway. And I wanted people to know where the party was. So instead of just sticking balloons out in front of the house with the cars parked all up and down the side of the street, maybe you wouldn't see the balloons. So, well, screw it. I've got truss. I'll put trussing in front of the driveway and make this big thing. So people, oh, that must be where the party's at. So that's why I built it. I was going to do like an archway, but I discovered that the way the pins went into my truss, they went in sideways on my box totems, and they went in straight on my circle pieces. So I'm like, well, screw it. I'll just make a circle and clamp it onto or between the trusses. It looked like something you were supposed to, catch on fire and have motorcycles jump through or something.
That's what exactly. I was wondering. It's like, are you playing like a a toss game or
My joke was it was the baby toss, because it was so cool. If you guys know Jennifer Ramirez, she used to work with ADJ, and we're very dear friends. Her and Jared are friends of ours. They came for the party. They drove from Detroit to Milwaukee for the party, and they brought the baby.
Yeah.
Right? She had a baby last year, and so the joke was I built it to do the Reagan baby toss, so we could have a target to toss Reagan back and forth through.
Yeah, that was kind of politically incorrect of you.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you got we're talking about friends here, but no, it was a last minute decision to do the whole circle. I was just going to do an archway, so we can walk under it, but since that didn't work, I just decided to do a whole circle and make it just something for people. What the hell? Oh, there's where the party is.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only reason I built it. I was just going to do one tall totem, but I thought, now let's do two. We've got the stuff. Let's just use it.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
We set up a photo booth in the basement too, because we really didn't want to put it outside or put it in the house, because we've been working so hard to clean up the house and make it look nice. I didn't want to do that. But everyone was having so much fun that we didn't even use it.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it was here, and you know how it goes. When you have something going on like a small party, it's kind of cool because, if nobody knows hey, well, let's go to the photo booth. We'll do that. It's something to do. But people were so engaged, we didn't even need to use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we pulled the photo booth out when my daughter, she did her 8th birthday, I believe it was, and she had a bunch of friends over. And in that particular case, you're talking 8-year-old girls. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They just loved that. Oh, I think
it was out of sight. We didn't really even tell people about it. It was just like, if people get bored, we'll say, hey, why don't you go use the photo booth it's downstairs?
Yeah.
Because there's a side door in our house, and you go down like 5 or 6 stairs and you're in the dungeon, and that's where it was. So, but we didn't have to go. We didn't have to go there. There was so much going on. Everybody was having a lot of fun, just being social and hanging out, that there was no need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes having those tools and things are an advantage for kids parties and such.
On the other hand, when she had her 18th birthday party, we did set it up and it got a lot of use. So that was the wintertime. It was in a hall. And yeah, a lot of people didn't show because it was weather and things like that. Because she's a Christmas baby.
Oh, so very nice.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah, that definitely does.
We didn't need it this time.
That definitely does. Let's dig into, and kind of head a little bit different direction now.
Sure.
We want to talk again about family. How do you, because you're still out there doing events, I'm out there doing
Mhm.
events on a Saturday. How do you kind of balance your time between you've got your senior who just graduated and you're spending time with her and loved ones in your life, and you're doing your business. How have you managed to balance that?
Well, I finally am able to do it now, just with the relationship I'm in. Um, my daughter's mother and I were not able to do this. I had to cut way back to the point where I almost wasn't working anymore because she wasn't having it.
Hmm.
And I was a 20-some-year-old man. Part of that was my fault. I mean, going back and looking at it, it was definitely part of it was my fault. We'll just say there were some trust issues when you're
Hmm.
working in a nightclub and you're having fun.
Oh
But
yeah.
nothing that I could get arrested for. But just it didn't work. And now it's different. I'm doing mostly wedding receptions. When I do clubs, I mean, it's a job. It's not a social thing. And with my daughter, it's real cool with this photo booth because she can come with me sometimes, and she has a job that she can make money at.
Yeah.
So I've introduced her into it. And Blanca, I mean, Blanca is Puerto Rican. Spanish is English is her second language. So if I'm ever doing a party with a quinceañera or even a company party where they have a large Latino population, I'll tell her, hey, why don't you come with me for this one because you can help. I don't understand really fast Spanish. I definitely can't spell it. I have the music and I know the music, but when they talk fast, I don't get it. So I have her come and help me take requests. And the Latinos really enjoy seeing them represented in the booth. As soon as they see me like a white guy, then she walks up, whoa, okay, this is cool. We got best of both worlds. We're
Yeah.
represented too. So I'm able to include her with that. She does it. She didn't used to like to do it, but now she kind of enjoys it, especially if she knows she's going to hear something she likes once in a while, and she'll help me out. So that's the balance, Not only that, but it's very seasonal with this wedding thing. If you're doing weddings and corporate events, it's pretty quiet in the Midwest with the weather from probably the end of January all the way through May. It's pretty quiet, or April anyway. So we do have the time in the winter.
Which is nice. Yeah. And then
So yeah, it's a job, it's a gig. She understands. I mean, she's cool about it. Um, as far as me working, she doesn't bother her. She knows she can come, and well, the extra money is awful nice.
oh, for
And it
sure.
is at this point extra money. It's kind of cool when you gig. It's like, okay, this is when we buy carpet. This is when we, can make that major purchase
Hmm.
or take that trip or whatever the case, or go shopping.
Yeah.
We went on a shopping spree today.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly. And that when you've got your business plan all laid out, and in the case of what you and I, we're not living off our DJ income like we would at one time,
Not anymore.
and that's
Used to.
yeah, exactly. For a number of
Used to.
years, that was what made everything happen, and those
Yeah.
times have changed, and it's a different world. We got a few questions. Let's
Yeah.
NC 8 has how does a DJ handle a morning person? If you've got a spouse or significant other that's a morning person.
Let me tell you something. I have no problems with sleeping alone. Sometimes we end up sleeping in shifts because, well, I don't know that Blanca's particularly a morning person, but she doesn't sleep like I do. So, and she has to get up for her son who needs things early in the morning. So there are times, yeah, absolutely, when I'm going to bed as she is getting up. It absolutely happens.
Hmm.
And I think we're just used to it. We're cool with it. I think if I let that go on for too long, it's kind of bad.
Yeah.
So I've got to even sometimes if I've got nothing going on one evening, I'm not tired at all, but I'll just go to bed with her.
Hmm.
If I lay there for an hour and she falls asleep and I get up, that's fine, but I'm not ignoring her that way.
Yep. Yeah, I think this is probably one of the difficult things that back when I was spinning all the time, and my life was up until 3 a.m. It was just that was when you went
Mm.
to bed, and of course Lori had a day job at the time.
Yeah.
So she had to be to work at 8 o'clock, and it became kind of a tough thing because you're kind of that two passing ships in the night in many ways. But
The
as I
hardest thing, I'm sorry,
go
John.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the hardest thing was with my daughter's mother, because at that time I was doing incredibly well with my DJ business.
Yeah.
And this was before, well, back in the days when you didn't have to spend 30 hours in prep to do somebody's wedding.
Yeah.
They picked the first dance song and maybe a father-daughter song, it may be, and you just did it. So I was doing 2, 3 of these a week at 500 a pop, plus my club gig, and that's all I was doing. Life was good, and she was going to work 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And she didn't like it that I had all this time.
Yeah.
On my hand. I had money. I made more than she did, but it didn't matter because she didn't like it.
Yeah.
Just didn't like it. So I had to get a day job just to shut her up.
Yeah.
And then it just got to the point where I couldn't handle everything, and I made less money, but she was happy. So I guess the moral of that story is sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't with relationships.
Yeah.
You've got to be in the right relationship to do this, and you've got to be the right kind of person to even approach this in a healthy way to make this work in a relationship.
We've got some people in the chat room. Cool Hand mentions his wife does the office work, and kids are doing the roadie things, and oldest daughter.
Excellent.
Yeah. If you can get the spouse or significant other to help, like Brian, you're talking, Blanca there is helping with some shows.
Yeah.
That certainly helps because they're part of the process. And I think, Brian, you mentioned it earlier. One of the biggest problems I think we run into is that trust factor. And as Lori has said, it's not that I don't trust you. She goes, I don't trust these other people, and they're going to be hitting on you and doing their things. And she goes, I just don't feel comfortable with someone hitting on my husband.
Right.
And I get that.
I do too. With me, and my world is weird. And I live like right in the city. I think I mentioned this before in the show. I'm on a major avenue. Blanca doesn't drive, and she's never driven. She's a city girl, so she takes the bus. And we have a Walgreens up the street, and a Starbucks, and a Subway, and whatever. So she's up and down the avenue.
Yeah,
that's what she does. And she gets hit on every day. People are whistling at her. She's kind of hot. If you ever see this little thing, she's got a rocking body, and people whistle at her cars and hit on. She's been hit on every day of her life since she was 12.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get hit on, it's like my birthday. And I tell everybody, hey, I got hit on today. Oh yeah, she was a little heavy and not my type, but it doesn't matter. I got hit on.
Yep.
So we kind of have a sense of humor about that, that part of it. Blanca's pretty confident. She doesn't feel like that anyone is a challenge. No one's going to take me away from her. She just feels like she's got that in the bag, and I'm glad she feels that way. I'm glad she's confident. And I mean, literally, I'll where you going? I'm going with this. Well, who's that? Who's that girl? Well, you know her. She ain't shit. Go ahead. I mean, that's the attitude. Like, what are you going to do? Leave me for her? And then you're going to do that. Go ahead. She's confident. And I needed a confident woman. I could not have a woman with confidence issues and do this job.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've had that in the past, and it's made it incredibly hard. So.
Really has. Brent mentions that his daughter is 6 and the son is 2. They're not good roadies yet. Brent, I think you're limiting them. 2 years old. Can't teach them over and under with a kid? Come on. There's got to be something.
I think you have to be really careful with that because, I didn't push the DJ thing on my kid.
Yep.
However, she's not feeling it because I know I've mentioned this before on previous shows. DJing and dance music and records and lighting and even nightclub stuff, that's dad's thing.
Yeah.
And that is so weird to me when I think about it and try to put myself in her shoes. Because my dad, wow. Good guy, but he wasn't doing anything fun. This is dad's thing, so she's not into it. Kids typically, sometimes I should say, not typically, but sometimes kids kind of rebel. They want to do their own thing. They don't want to emulate their parents. Whatever dad's doing is not the cool thing. It's the dad thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's the dad thing. So she has no interest in what I do.
Yeah, and that's you mentioned that pushing the kids, and I've done that with my children also. I don't want to push, but there's that point. It's like, okay, you've got your school that knows that I DJ, and they know we have gear, and this, their classmates come up and say, hey, we're going to throw a dance, and we'll pay you, $400 to come in and DJ our school dance, and it's like, that is $400 that they can put towards something that I don't have to cover, because there's no way they're going to hire me to do that school dance, because
Right.
I'm priced way out of that league.
Yeah.
So it's
And
like,
you're old.
and I'm old. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
come along too. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah.
Well, we're the same age, probably. So I'm feeling it. I mean, I understand it.
Yeah. So the kids, it's like, okay, I'm not pushing you, but gosh, that opportunity is there for you guys to go do that. And a couple of my boys, I mean, this upcoming weekend, actually, my 15-year-old is going to be doing a family event.
Yeah, a wedding, huh?
A wedding. He's going to be doing a family wedding, which is a second, or I don't want to say third, but it could be for one or both of them. I'm not even sure on the
Oh
numbers.
my.
Yeah. So it's more of a backyard party. They're going to do a first dance, and then after that, it's just playing music.
Practice wedding number 4.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, this is our practice for getting ready for. Yeah, we're hoping not, but anyway. So he'll go and he'll do a nice job, and it's just, I don't want to go and really push, but I know with his ability that he could do very well. Actually, he and my third son are really good with video, the cameras, and doing their things. And it's like, with my connections and how we are within the wedding industry, they could be a hellaciously good video team, and be able to really bring in some good money with that. But again, I don't want to push.
With my kid, just to clarify, she can do this.
Yeah.
I remember, oh boy, she was probably about, I don't know, 5. And at the time I was working at a car dealership, and we didn't officially have like a dealer group party, but collectively we were all pretty cool with each other. Dealership, we decided to just have our own. So we went to a park, and we got some prizes and some games, and it was a big family thing. The mechanics came, the sales guys came, everybody came.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody kind of contributed something. Well, I'll bring music. That's what I do, you know. So I'm going to bring the DJ setup and make announcements or whatever. So I'm playing tunes, and this was when you're, CD, and that's what I was doing. And my daughter comes up and says, "Can I say something? I think we need to make an announcement. Can I do it?" Yeah, sure.
5 years old.
4 or 5. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wild Dodge annual picnic. I hope you're all having a wonderful time. Please don't forget that we are still signing up for the volleyball tournament, and the water balloon fight is going to be happening right over here next to the picnic tables in 5 minutes. There's plenty of food. Enjoy. Mic drop. Literally, mic drop, and walks away. And everybody at the party has turned around, and they're like, wow. And our general manager came up to me immediately. How long did it take you to teach her to say that like that? Dude, she just picked up the mic. We never discussed this. She's a natural. Wow. But it's just not her thing. It's Dad's thing.
Mm-hmm.
She can do it, but she doesn't want to. She wants to do her thing. And that's totally cool.
Totally cool. Yeah, very good.
Story.
No, that was good. That's very, very cool. I'm just reading some of the comments here. Brent was mentioning he's got the children every other weekend, and that grandma has them.
I've been there,
Saturday
brother.
nights.
I've been there. I mean, I mentioned that there's a baby mama and there's not Blanca, and there's times where you do make that sacrifice. And I just feel like it's very important if you're doing this weekend warrior thing as a parent and as a DJ. It's so important to make sure you're awake on Sunday at least.
Yeah.
And you do something good and not just sit around. And if you're tired, so what? Go do something anyway.
Yeah.
That's your obligation.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah,
they get older, it gets easier. But yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, with the grandparents, when Lori and I were both actively DJing. So again, she was working during the weekend, and on Saturday she'd do a wedding. So we were able to utilize grandparents an awful lot, and that's the way we ran for a number of years. But once I think we hit the second or third child, it became too much for grandparents to handle, and that's when she retired. But
Yeah.
it was Lori during the week was working. Saturday she was doing that, and then Sunday, as you mentioned. Okay, now all of a sudden here the kids really want to get some attention, and she was much better at it than being able to, okay, she was up at 8 on, getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and then she's up and ready to go with the kids. I couldn't do that.
What I found with kids, and this is just me, I was a single dad for a long time too. And it's about the quality of the time, not the quantity sometimes. If you're, I mean, because everybody has to work, everybody has to do that. But if you only have your kid for X amount of time because of work or other obligations or whatever, make that really good time.
Yeah.
Make that the best time. And it doesn't have to be spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'd tell you the best times I had with my kid, the best times, and we still talk about this, was in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't do the DVD or the games and all that crap. You sit and stare at the window just like I did. We did it at old school. So that's when she started asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we had our best conversations, was in
yeah.
transit from one place to the next.
And that's a similar situation this past weekend. We're up camping in northern Minnesota. We don't have cell phone service. And it's like, okay, we're going to go do something. Well, Lori, I'm going to take a few of the kids and we're going to go walk to that spot a mile away or 2 mile away, whatever it was. In that time, there's nothing else to do. We're looking at trees or we're talking.
Right.
And it was just a fabulous experience. And that's the parts that I enjoyed the most, was these walks down these trails going to the swimming beach.
Who cares where you're going?
Yeah, it's just
doesn't matter.
Just hanging and it was nice to do it with different children, even taking the dogs for a walk and having to clean up dog poop. We're taking a different child each time, and we could talk, and there was nothing to do but watch a dog.
Those are the best times. Those kids are going to remember that stuff. That's the good stuff. Yeah,
that's for sure. That's for sure. Brent mentioned that he goes to the Children's Museum in the Twin Cities with the kids, and Como, the Como Zoo is one that my kids really enjoy down there too. There's a lot of Minneapolis, St. Paul's just got a lot of different parks and things you can do with kids.
It's a wonderful city for the arts and
so
things.
Much.
We've got the Betty Bryn Children's Museum here that we've gone to. We also have Chicago right down the road. So that's the Shattuck Museum, that's the Field Museum, that's the Museum of Science and Industry. But it's also just driving around and getting a pizza.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of that when she was young. Let's go to Chicago and go to Pizzeria Do and then walk down Michigan Avenue.
Yep.
That's like what we're going to do today. And she would get so into it. And again, the drive down, it's 80 miles. So you got time to talk. And you see things and you discuss them and you meet people or you talk, you engage with people and great stuff. It doesn't have to be anything too structured. You can just do stuff and they love it.
Jimmy asked if we ate the whole steak to get it for free. No, Jimmy, I've been really watching my diet. So no, I wouldn't have eaten the whole steak. Actually, I wouldn't have eaten much of the steak at all. It's just not where I want to go.
So the Great Outdoors the other day on cable.
Yeah.
You're doing that.
No, I ain't doing any of that. So good stuff. I think the big thing, I guess, if they're going to take, we talked about, having this, needing to have the right person in your life is a huge thing. And I think
vital.
And I've been blessed with Lori, being a very understanding, and we talk about different issues with that. Mm-hmm. And then I think the part, that you made here at the end, Brian, was just fabulous, is that when it comes to the relationship with children, sometimes the quality of that time, and it doesn't have to be you spending a lot of money. It's just spending just some time with them and engaging them. Is
put your phone down, put it all away, close your laptop, and just go drive or go walk or whatever. It doesn't got to be a big thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to. Kids don't need that. Gang, we're going to wrap this one up, and we'll be back. Show number 2 is where's the link here? I'm going to put that up in the chat here for you guys to grab.
So
otherwise it is in the bottom for show number 2, and we will be back in probably about 3 or 4 minutes. We'll see you then.